So how do we afford this? Well, just because you don't see hundreds and hundreds of people here at Occupation doesn't mean that they're not out in the community supporting us in varied ways. You know, you see the Occupation manifest itself through the fact that 2 people we've never seen before showed up today with 20 cases of water. People bring us food, they bring us blankets, sleeping bags, they bring us the tools we need to use our bodies as a form of protest to show the government that all of us are mad at what's happening. We think it's wrong, and it's very clear to us that they're not listening.
So these are just people. These are just, is it an organization that's bringing you all this food and water, or just people that are like supporting you?
Common people. Just common people supporting you? Who didn't even know each other before, but who have all united under the common goal of trying to find some way to address the problems in society that haven't been addressed, very clearly haven't been addressed fully and completely by our government. And that's a problem. If this is supposed to be a government of the people, by the people, for the people, what we're seeing is a government of the corporations, by the corporations, and for the corporations.
Exactly.
And that is what's unacceptable. When things have priority over people, that's a problem. And I think that's what we're here to discuss, and we're trying to get to the bottom of the issues so that once we know comprehensively as much as we possibly can, then we can create the most intelligent solution, not a band-aid, but a long-term viable solution to the issues.
What do you think about the mayor?
What about the mayor?
What do you think about the mayor?
We'd love
You're
to
right
have a
next door to him.
discussion
What do you
with
think about him?
I think it's been really, really unfortunate that the public official in the highest office in the city of Richmond has not done his duty to listen to the grievances of these people.
But he was out there with you guys. I remember seeing video that he talked to you guys. I remember that.
He talked to us, not with us.
He talked to you of is him talking at us, not with us. The mayor stood no further than 10 feet from the front steps of Kanawha Plaza. He did not take the tour that was offered to him around that community that had sprung up within the greater community of Richmond. That is not an attempt to be aware of what's going on. That is not an attempt to remain in touch with his people. That's an attempt to make a public statement in front of all the cameras, not listen to any feedback that we have to give, and then walk away to go have dinner at a local restaurant where a fellow occupier was working. That's what happened that day. Likewise, we've made numerous attempts to have these conversations with the mayor. We were in full force last night at City Council. We probably had 50 to 70 people there, peacefully sitting in the seats, actively engaging in the conversation through our hand signals throughout the entire City Council meeting, right? And then at the very end, during the citizen comment period, which is a processional point where they want to hear from the public, Mayor Jones stepped out of the movement. He didn't listen to us, he didn't listen to the members of the Richmond Tea Party who had things to say, he didn't listen to any of the citizen comments about the state of our city. And isn't that his job at the root, to listen to what we have to say and to respond with his power to help fix those issues? In my mind, yes. Maybe I haven't read the law well enough, but I think that public officials are there to work for the people.
Even Reva Tramler, one of the councilwomen.
Yeah, she was here.
Yeah, she took issue
Marty
with
Jewell and
the mayor not being there.
And she asked this question.
And I have to wonder, with the mayor making as many statements as he is about how tight the budget is and how we don't have really enough money to run the city, why he's spending tens of thousands of dollars on police horses, on police helicopters, on police motorcycles.
What do you think about the police out here? And the neighbors that are, and some of the neighbors that are complaining.
Going to
first off, I'm
what do you think about
sure
that?
why we had to have 12 police cars out there for a private event, for an event occurring on private property. That doesn't seem to make sense to me. When we were operating within the full legal parameters of the law, they brought out Chief Norwood, they brought out many of the majors and captains and colonels within the police force. They had full mats out. Why is that necessary when we're operating within the parameters of law, when we have proven ourselves thus far every single day to be peaceable and non-violent, and when we're simply trying to have a discussion? I don't see them sending out tens of police cars to every single murder call. I don't see them sending out tens of police cars when someone has their house broken into. So why is this peaceable conversation such a threat to the city of Richmond? Likewise, why aren't we spending that money to take the homeless off the streets? Why aren't we spending that money on healthcare, or on recycling programs, or on the things that people really need to be worried about? Why are we worried about chasing around a bunch of people who are just trying to have a conversation. This doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me.
Last time I talked to you, I was talking about, I asked you the question, like, well, where does the objective come in at the point where everybody goes in? And you said, well, you told me, well, what happens is we just get smarter and the movement kind of evolves and as this stuff goes on. And I'm just kind of seeing here how you guys are on the street now, like kind of today you guys evolved a little bit, you know?
Right. Well, I mean, I think that's one of the beautiful things about this movement is that there is no endpoint. Is that there is no directive other than continue the conversation and try to spread as much information as possible. And I think that because we're a leaderless, non-hierarchical movement, that it allows for a very organic evolution of ideas through these collective thought processes that we see evolve through General Assembly. You know, it takes 90% of us to make any decision made. So what you see is an intense amount of discussion and debate about every single issue, and we're actually able to get to the bottom of it rather than just having a single person speaking and arguing, and as we see every day in politics at the national and state and local levels. So what you see here is incredibly organic, entirely grassroots. There are no organizations giving us directives. We're making these decisions for ourselves, the people.
Just the new venue. I think it's a highly effective venue because I mean you're not on his lawn, but you're almost on his lawn. Right on the lawn of the mayor.
Right. I mean, I think again that most importantly we are here because we need a place to be, so we can continue to have this conversation and develop this community.
Did you get something to
Community
eat?
is something missing from society at large, really. I mean, you always hear people, especially the Tea Party, saying that there aren't enough family dinner table conversations anymore. This is one giant family dinner table conversation. We're able to get really deep with it when we can sleep, eat, breathe, and live together. Also, having that permanent space, although outside the epicenter of Richmond, means that we've simply taken our outreach to a different community. Now we're in the south side, now we're accessible to an entirely different demographic of people who probably have questions, who probably have input. You know, we're not here just to talk at you, we're here to listen to you because we have a true belief that we want to represent the views of the entire 99%.
You still have a
We can't do that until we start hopping around in these different communities. I think this space, while not heavy with foot traffic, is equally as effective at getting across what we need to get across.
You kind of have the family dinner table thing going on.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a think tank where you guys actually sit down and
But they're
discuss
not
ideas to
allowed
better
on
the
the
world.
property.
I mean, absolutely. This is just one giant
they haven't been invited.
It's not just ideas and how to better the world, but we really get down to the actual information through facts and stats as to what's wrong with the world. And then maybe if we can identify all the problems, like a doctor who can synthesize the problems and come up with a grander solution.
You're a student?
I was a student.
Where, VCU? Right.
Yeah, I was a student for 3 years at VCU, and unfortunately, our current economic crisis has led me to not have enough money to continue my education. So
was your
I'm
major?
here at Human University.
What was your major?
Biology.
Biology.